So in this section, talks about all real numbers can be located on a number line. And that means that all irrational numbers can also be located on the number line because real numbers are comprised of rational and irrational numbers. So let's use this number line to order these real numbers. You're going to need your calculator. So for A, it says which we have to do greater than, equal to, or less than. We have the square root of 3. So second x squared 3. This is approximately 1.7. That's approximately rounded to the nearest tenth. 1.7 is larger than 1. So here is 1, and then here is 1.7. Whoops, put 5. 1.7. So this is going to be greater than. B, the square root of 2 equals, that is approximately 1.4. This is extremely important to show your work. We should be writing down both numbers, and then after we plug in the square root into the calculator, you write down what your calculator tells you. You can round to the nearest tenth or hundredth, whichever makes the question easier. So I see that 1.5 is larger than 1.4, so that number will be greater than. So again, writing these numbers down, the square root of 12 after plugging it into the calculator is approximately 3.5 rounded to the nearest tenth. 3 on my number line is there. 3.5 will be right there. Therefore, the square root of 12 is larger. Now for D, we have two numbers we have to plug in. We're going to do 20 divided by 9 in our calculator, and we get 2.2 repeating. Then after we do the square root of 6, you get approximately 2.4. That's all we need. This is rounded to the nearest tenth, square root of 6. So both start with 2, but then in the tenth spot, 20 over 9 has a 2. The square root of 6 has a 4. 4 is greater than 2, which means the square root of 6 is larger. E is a little bit more difficult because of the negative signs. Negative means opposite. So when I type the negative square root of 7 into my calculator, I get negative 2.6, rounded to the nearest tenth. I'm going to go negative 2.6, 4, 5, 7. I'm going to go a little bit further, all right, than rounding to the nearest tenth. 2.6459, because this goes to the nearest tenth. The square root of 7 is a decimal that goes on forever. So there's going to be more numbers involved. You can't just say it's 2.6. These are not equal. They are not equal to each other. Now typically, if you look, 2.64 is bigger than 2.6. But when we have the negatives in front, negative 2.6 is going to be right about here, and negative 2.64 will be a little bit further away. So negative 2.6 is further to the right on the number line, making that larger. Now here we have 9.5, and there is a pi button on your calculator, and you can square pi times pi, and this is approximately 9.9 when rounded. Again, we are rounding. It goes on forever, but here we are rounding. So I get 9.9. The second 9 is bigger than 5. Therefore, that is greater than. So again, greater than, equal to, or less than. 4 divided by 3 is 1.3 repeating. The square root of 2 is 1.4. So the first numbers are both 1. Those are the same. Square root of 2. This is a 3, and this is a 4. 4 is greater than 3, so the square root of 2 is larger. Your friend says that any possible real number a, then a is always going to be greater than the square root of a. Is your friend correct? Well, let's say a equals 2. If a equals 2, we have 2, and your friend says 2 is going to be greater than the square root of 2, which the square root of 2 is approximately 1.4, which we did just there. So right there, your friend is correct. Let's keep going. If a is 1, your friend would say 1 is greater than the square root of 1. Well, when you substitute or plug in the square root of 1 into your calculator, you get the square root of 1 equal to 1. Is 1 greater than 1? No, 1 is equal to 1. Therefore, your friend is incorrect. So no, your friend is not correct. So we're at an art exhibit. One of the artists is a former math teacher. Each artist sends heights of the painting. You want to display the paintings from shortest to tallest. Write the following as a decimal. So here we go again. We have to write all of these as decimals so that we can have a better understanding of what is larger and what is not. Now, when you substitute or plug in the square root of 5 into your calculator, I'm going to go to the nearest thousandth for these. Square root of 2, 1 point, here's my tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Square root of 7, after plugging into my calculator, 2.6 tenths, hundredths, and then it stops at 5 in the thousandths, but the 10 thousandths spot is a 7, which is greater than 5, so I round up to 6. So that's just practicing putting those as decimals, which we are going to have to do in our assignments. So now I know that this is 2.236. Square root of 2 is 1.414. Square root of 7 is 2.646. So I want to go from least to greatest, smallest to largest. The smallest of all of these numbers is 1.4, so the square root of 2 goes first. The next smallest is 1.6, so that goes next. I'm going to cross these off as I go because I've already used them. Then just the number 2, because all the rest are decimals that are larger than 2. So I have 2.8, 2.2, 2.6. 2.2 is the next smallest of those. 2.6, which is the square root of 7. And I need one more space right there to give me 2.8, which is the largest. Let's write the following as a decimal. Square root of 11 is 3.3. Pi, 3.14. We should know pi. You can hit pi on your calculator, hit equals, but pi we should know is 3.14 approximated to the nearest hundredth. So here I have 3.4 or 14. Square root of 11, 3.3. So now I need to go least to greatest. Here we go. The smallest of all of these numbers is just going to be 3.1. That is smaller than 3.14. 3.14, that 4 is greater than 0. So next would be pi. So I have 3.1. I've got pi. And then the square root of 11 is the next smallest. And then 3.4 is my largest number in that set. I should have brought that up there, huh? And finally, we have to order these from least to greatest. So I'm going to plug all of these into my calculator. I get 1.73. The negative square root of 17. Here we have some negatives now. Negative 4.12. The square root of 9 is just 3. Negative 17 divided by 4 equals negative 4.25. And then 5 divided by 3 is 1.6 repeating. So now I have to put them in order. This is how we show our work. Write down all the numbers, put them all as decimals. Least to greatest. So now I look at all my decimals and see which one is the smallest. Here I have 1.73, but I've got some negatives. So my negatives are going to be smaller than all of my positives. So remember, negative means opposite, so technically I have to look for the largest negative number, which is negative 4.25. So this is going to be my smallest number. Negative 17 over 4 is my smallest number. Next, I have negative 4.2 is going to be smaller than negative 1.7. So the negative 1 times the square root of 17. And then I have my last negative number, which is right there. Now the rest are all positive, so I don't have to worry about going opposite. 1.6 is smaller than 1.7, so I have 5/3. 1.7 is smaller than 3, so I have the square root of 3. And then 3 is my largest number, so I have the square root of 9.